Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about the secret memory of AI. How exactly can a machine that sees pretty much everything also learn to forget the important stuff? So let's just start with the absolute magic of modern AI. I mean, these systems, they're called vision language models, and they can look at an image, like this bento box here, and tell you what they see with just stunning accuracy. But this incredible skill, it kind of hides a really critical question about our privacy. Okay, so if the AI sees the broccoli, what else does it know, right? Could it figure out who made the lunch, or maybe where the photo was taken, or even more private details it picked up during its training? And that is the hidden risk we're going to dig into today. You see, to get this smart, these AI models are trained on just unbelievable amounts of data. We're talking countless images and text scraped right off the internet. But this whole learning process creates a hidden vulnerability, a kind of digital memory that, well, it can be exploited. This is what's known as a membership inference attack, or MIA for short. And in simple terms, it's a technique that lets an attacker probe the AI's memory to figure out if a specific piece of your data, say your photo, was used to train it in the first place. Think of it this way. The attacker is kind of like a detective. They don't have direct access to your private photo album, right? But by cleverly analyzing how you describe your photos, they can start to figure out exactly what's inside it. It's a sneaky workaround. So here's how a black box attack usually works, where the attacker doesn't have any special access to the AI's internal code. First, they feed the AI an image they suspect might have been in the training data. The AI then does its thing and spits out a descriptive caption. But the real key is what happens next, comparing that new caption to the original one. And this is the crucial part. If the AI's description is extremely similar, almost identical to the original caption for that image, well, that's a huge clue. It basically screams that the image was part of its secret training data, and that, right there, is a potential privacy leak. So this raises a major challenge for, well, the entire field of AI development. How do we fix this vulnerability? How can we possibly build an AI that learns all the right lessons from data without just memorizing the data itself? So, how do we solve this puzzle? Well, researchers found a pretty fascinating answer by looking at a model of learning that's very familiar to all of us, the human brain. The big breakthrough was to get away from this chaotic way of learning. Instead, researchers developed a method to train the AI to organize its internal information in a really structured way, a lot like how our own brains process and connect different ideas. Okay, the technique is called topological regularization. I know it sounds super complex, but the core idea is really about forcing the AI to see relationships. So instead of just memorizing raw pixels, it learns to map similar concepts close to each other in its internal mind. This structure is what encourages generalization over just rote memorization. You know, it's really the difference between a student who crams for a test by memorizing the exact answers from a textbook versus a student who actually understands the subject. The standard AI, it crams. This new neuro-AI, well, that's the one that truly gets it. So, the big question, does this brain-inspired approach actually work? Can it really stand up to a dedicated hacker who's trying to break into its memory? Let's take a look at the results. Researchers basically pitted a standard, off-the-shelf AI against their new Neuro-AI. Both of them were hit with the exact same membership inference attack, just to see which one was tougher. And the results were, frankly, striking. The attacker's success rate dropped by nearly 24% when they tried to breach the Neuro-AI. In a real-world test, this new brain-inspired training method proved to be a massive, massive upgrade in security. Look, a 24% drop isn't just some small tweak. It's a huge improvement in privacy. It makes it so much harder for an attacker to tell what the AI has or hasn't seen before, which, at the end of the day, protects the training data. But here's the next critical question, right? If you make the AI more private and secure, does that also make it worse at its actual job? Is there some kind of trade-off between privacy and performance? Let's go back to our bento box to really see the difference. The standard AI, on the left, it gives a super specific caption, a close-up of a tray of food with broccoli. It's totally focused on details it probably memorized. But now look at the Neuro-AI on the right. It says, a group of containers filled with food sitting on top of a table. It's still perfectly accurate, but it's describing the concept, not just spitting back memorized details. and that shows it truly understands.
Yeah, the research concluded that this new method protects privacy without really hurting the model's performance. It's pretty much the best of both worlds. A smarter, more general understanding that also just happens to be a heck of a lot more secure.
So, to sum it all up, we've seen this hidden privacy risk in today's really powerful AIs, where they can just remember way too much. We've explored this brilliant, neural-inspired solution that teaches them to understand instead of just memorize. And the result is a safer AI for all of us with no real loss in performance.
And this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The future of AI? It isn't just about making it smarter or more powerful. It's about making it trustworthy so we can all be confident that it's learning from our world without putting our personal privacy at risk.